what, Jason? Goonies never say die.
Unless they say it while they say never say die, which they say the word die whenever they say they never say die. But
yeah,
I'm not about to nitpick something like that because this is a classic movie and I love every frame of it. Good night, everybody. That's the show.
Yeah. It's a hard one to talk about, to be honest with you, because it's so universally loved, you know? I've never met a person who dislikes this movie.
I have met a person like that, but I cut them completely out of my life because I don't need or deserve that kind of negativity. Yeah, I'm
Clearly
just
they're
basically going to be projectile vomiting praise and love upon this film because honestly, how could you not love The Goonies, starring Academy Award winner Ke Kwan?
Correct.
We love Ke
that.
Kwan.
Put that picture
He's a
back
national
up,
treasure. Yeah,
put
he's
that
a
picture back
national
up,
treasure. We will protect him at all costs. Also starring Thanos. And also
of course.
starring Samwise Gamgee.
Correct. And Corey Feldman.
And Corey Feldman. The Feldman, yes. The Feldmeister is there.
The Feldmeister.
Yes.
Like it's one of these, like, again, we're all just going to be sharing love on it. But the reason you bring up that cast is because this is why everyone loves the movie. It's really down to
absolutely.
the cast that they got, you know. What can you say? This was Richard Donner's next movie after being fired from Superman, I believe.
Yes, and what a film! What a film it was. The Goonies is just absolutely correct. I got to throw up the title screen. Hold on, there we go. Look at the title screen. It's so great.
One of the great opening sequences.
Yes.
One of the great opening sequences I've ever seen in a movie. The jailbreak for the Fratellis, is it? The Fratellis?
The Fratellis. Fun fact for you, Fratelli is Italian for brother. So they're the Brother Brothers.
The Brother Brothers. And oh gosh, Joey Pants being one of them. And Robert Darby, who would become a Bond villain later, a few years later in License to Kill. And the wonderfully talented Anne Ramsey.
Oh, she was so terrific. She just had a look and she was funny. Yeah. This is peak Ramsey right here. And I miss her. I wish she was still around. Yeah. She'd probably still be, why am I making these movies? Why am I back?
Watching this movie again, it just reminds you of that period of about 5 or 6 years when Amblin were just knocking it out of the park with everything that Spielberg's name was attached to, was producing absolute gold. And this film on paper seems like a throwaway, B-grade, Saturday, afternoon kind of little adventure film. But it is throwing it to top-tier entertainment. And watching it again last night, Jason, I'm going, oh, holy shit, this is like wine. This is like great wine. This hasn't dated. This has only gotten better with age. They've created a timeless film.
It has.
Richard Donner, yeah.
Please
it's all right. We were both waiting for someone else to talk. No, look.
May I, please? No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Just make it all about you.
Yes, I will. No, I'm making it all about Richard Donner. Because Richard Donner, I know you're not a huge fan of Superman the movie, but Superman the movie is Americana. Like, it is branded Americana. It has got that look and the feel. It's trying to represent a time and a place in America with innocence. And this film feels the same way. Richard Donner has made a film that romanticizes a period of time that we took for granted as kids, but no longer exists. And it's just, to me, it's like if I watch See America, this is the America I want to go to. This is the America where I want to live. We're going to have trouble tonight.
You cut out there for a minute, so I'm going to assume that whatever you said was really good.
I'm not editing this, by the way. So bad guys. We're not editing this.
I think that this is forget it. You're getting this, the flubs and everything. I may even drop the bomb today.
It's bad though. We got a bad connection.
I'm feeling saucy. So yeah, this is basically Stranger Things. So this is Stranger Things before Stranger Things. I love the feel of this movie. I love it's just an adventure and it's wish fulfillment. That's what it is. It's just wish fulfillment from beginning to end. This is the adventure that little boys wanted to go on whenever they were little boys. And this is the kind of adventure that old men like me like watching people go on, thinking, wow, I wish I could have done that whenever I was a kid. And I also want to point out this friend group right here, because honestly, every friend group had the nerd. Every friend group had the a-hole. Every friend group had the straight man. And every friend group had the buffoon.
Yep.
I don't want to say which one of those I was.
I think I was a bit of I was a bit of punk, but I also was a bit of Corey Feldman. I was an instigator as well. I enjoyed.
I was.
Yes, I looked like him.
I did the truffle shuffle. I did the truffle shuffle for attention during recess, and I was actually told, stop doing that. Whatever you're doing, stop doing that. And I was like, I did the truffle shuffle.
You're not as talented as that kid.
Later on, I found out how traumatizing that was. Okay, funny fact, I cannot remember this. I cannot remember this kid's name. He grew up to be a talent manager, a talent lawyer.
Yes, entertainment.
And he went on to represent Ke Huy Quan. And so because of Chunk, Data won the Academy Award.
Has an Oscar.
And
pretty great.
There is this great series of videos on YouTube, and it is the cast of the Goonies reacting to Ke Huy Quan winning the Oscar, and you get Corey Feldman, Martha Plimpton, I think Josh Brolin, and Sean Astin. They're all sitting at home, and somebody was recording them watching Ke Huy Quan on the Academy Awards, and whenever he wins, you just see this unabounding joy from all of them. Yeah. Just like, oh my gosh. And I think that Feldman actually screams, Goonies never die. Goonies never die.
That's brilliant. And you know what? I mean, when you look at him in this film.
So, yeah, go, so wow, definite chemistry between these kids.
You are so good. The kid is so good. Like, because there's a lot Data has to do in this film.
All of them.
And like, this is one part where he falls through a floor. And he starts getting really annoyed, Data. And he starts mumbling to himself and all this kind of thing. And it's just so fantastically done to see this upbeat, wonderful little kid. When he gets angry or he gets scared, he's perfect. He's perfect. So
he is.
No, they're all amazing. You know, hey,
every one of these ensembles usually has the one person who is just not that good, but you put up with them. Every kid in this movie is on point. Every single kid is just a perfect child actor. I honestly don't think they could have done any better with this group of kids. And yeah, every single one of them is great. Fun fact about Ke Huy Quan in this movie, he doesn't curse, but at one point he actually says, "Oh, shit," like that. And that's because his mother wouldn't let him curse. And he said, "Well, can I spell it?" She's like, "Yes, you can spell it, but don't curse. Don't curse." And every single curse word in this movie, this is something that I think is brilliant, that shows what a great filmmaker Richard Donner was and what a forward thinker he was. Every time a kid says a profanity in this movie, they say it in a location that has a lot of background noise. So whenever the movie was edited for television, all they had to do was turn the mix up to drown out the profanity. Yeah, and so you don't get a kid going, "Oh, holy shoot," and it's a bad dub. It's just holy, and it's just drowned out by water or something like that. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant how he thought ahead.
Yeah, well, he'd had a lot of experience with doing a television version of Superman, which included extra footage because they originally played Superman in 2 nights. So he had the experience by having to do that mix for that movie. Josh Brolin, can I just say in fan casting?
Okay.
If they were to make Avatar today, 1984 Josh Brolin, he's soccer, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
He's most definitely. I'm watching this film and going, 1984 Josh Brolin would be an excellent cast. He would have been an excellent choice for him, because there's very much similarities with his character, getting frustrated, but being very, very empathetic and loving his family, and and that's what works for this film is the bond between the characters. There's younger brother, older brother. There's a very tight bond there. The bond with the friends is really sweet.
Did you catch the blooper that they left in the movie where Sean Astin calls Josh by his name and says, "Josh, listen to me."
Yeah, I have heard that before. Yeah, I did notice it last night.
It's whenever he's trying to explain the map to him, and I guess he's ad-libbing, just trying to bug him, and he goes, "Josh, will you just look? Josh, look at this." I just think that's great. They just left it in the movie. I just love it.
How is a movie? You know how you know this is an expert filmmaker? You can have a moment when you have a rock and you point it to a location, everything matches up behind it, and it works perfectly. But then you give it to JJ, and we get Rise of Skywalker scene with the dagger, don't we? Which does not work at all.
No, it doesn't work. Okay, when the dagger was made thousands of years ago, and the Death Star crashed, like 20 years ago? It doesn't make any chronological sense. And besides, when she goes, this dagger's seen a lot of evil. You're holding a lightsaber that killed children, Ray. Ray, I love you. I love your character. I love the first two sequel movies, but Jesus.
Look, honestly, I know this is a side thing. We do need one day we'll probably do the entire Star Wars saga, but part of me just wants to do Rise of Skywalker, because I've never really done a podcast where I've given all my thoughts on the movie. I've never really articulated it publicly, and I have a lot to say about that movie. Even though I have to do
all the Star Wars movies, because I loved The Last Jedi. I loved what they did with it, and I have nothing but just vicious bile for the Rise of Skywalker. Just hatred. Yeah. Black fluid is going to be flying out of my mouth as I talk about the Rise of Skywalker.
I'll tell you what, too. The Force Awakens is like an 80s pop song. Sounds good for the first few weeks, but now you go back and revisit it, and you realize how vanilla it is.
I know.
That's my hot take.
Fun. It
was fun, but it was about
Harrison
you want some more.
Ford.
Mate, they had fistfuls of member berries slamming them down your throat.
I know.
That's
yay! It's Han Solo. I love Han Solo, and he's dead.
Oh, he's dead. Yeah, and the original trilogy never made. What the hell are we doing? We're here to talk Goonies. Let's leave Star Wars for another day. But the real star of this movie, Jason, you've got a fantastic picture of him. And again, handled expertly, because it's quite problematic, this character, how they treat him. And that is Sloth, right?
Yes.
The jewel in the crown of this movie.
Looking back, I originally thought that Sloth was a lot more problematic than he was. But I really liked the way they portrayed him in this movie, because
it's not how they treat his character. The way he's treated is really problematic.
Yes,
like
because
the fact he's chained up and the abuse and the.
Yeah, because I see Sloth as a character who is abused and who is hated, and then whenever he responds in that way the first time you meet him, he's almost like a wild animal. But the first time someone shows him empathy and respect and kindness, you see it's that nature nurture kind of thing. That is not who Sloth is. Sloth is a kind, loving human being, and Chunk seeing through this monster, so to speak, he just makes it this wonderful person. Although the fact that Sloth does tell Chunk, "You're going to live with me now," and Sloth goes, I just wanted to see this shot of Chunk's family in the background going,
no, his food bill alone. Sloth's pretty jacked, though. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah, he is. He's a big
look
boy.
at those guns.
I know. It's hunting season, baby. Look at those things. And I do love the Superman. It never occurred to me until just now that Richard Donner did a whole Superman gag in his movie, which I don't know. Maybe that was just him going, no hard feelings. I'm directing the Goonies now. You guys are about to have Superman 3.
I got Spielberg money now. Yeah. but he is wonderful. But everybody, there is no weak, like I said, we keep going on about it. There's no weak link, and even the script is so tight. Once it starts and we establish our main crew, once it gets going, the moment they run out and put down, screw up his tires, Thanos' tires, and they will do the bomb. The film doesn't stop.
It's just a solid adventure. Yeah. Excellently paced.
And how good is Josh Brolin to go, young, handsome 19-year-old man or 18 when he's doing this, and he's had to ride that little kid's bike. I thought I had the and he has to steal the little girl's bike.
I remember bikes with baskets on them. I had to steal my sister's bike one time because she took mine, so I had to go take hers to school one day. I didn't tell her she could take mine. She just wanted to take mine because it was a Space Invaders bike, and she thought it was cool.
But with that scene with the bike, it reminds me that this film, although it feels very grounded, it's an America I would have loved to have lived in. It's but also it's very heightened reality. This has a real strong element that this is not the world we kind of know. And they do that with very simple things. When the bike's going and starts smoking because it's going too far because he's holding the car. Or other little moments in it are very much like, this is very much a fantasy. But it's just to look how it's shot. It gives us a real grounded reality to it, which just works so well. And mind you, that there have been a couple of weak links I have noticed. One was the kids, as they're going into the restaurant, are literally inside this dilapidated building before it occurs to them that it's not a functioning restaurant.
Well, kids aren't very smart.
No, you can see from the outside. It's boarded up. Don't think it's open for business. But it leads to that great little scene where they go inside and they face off against Anne Ramsey, who pulls out a knife on one of them.
Well, of course she does.
Tries to strangle.
She wasn't even reading a script at this point. She just showed up on set, saw children, and just attacked them. And they just filmed it to see what would happen.
Yeah.
She was crazy, but we loved her.
Well, we love her because they make good villains, and they're not smart villains, and it's very clever of Richard Donner to do that, to make the brothers bicker all the time, to
it's
show that they're not really good criminals.
Yeah, it's very cartoony. It's along the lines of the Wet Bandits from Home Alone, where you have villains who are intimidating, but at the same time they're just cartoony enough to know that they're not going to pull out a gun and shoot a kid in the head. So there is that level of escapism, which I find very comforting. Pardon me.
And
down in those caves, it's been too wet. Do you ever notice that if they just jumped in the well, they would have cut off half of their journey through all those dangerous caves?
Well, we had a little bit of a glitch. Yes. The fact that it kind of reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China, where they kind of start in that top of that restaurant, and we start going down the layers.
Yes.
Each layer gets more kind of into the caverns, and man, beautiful sets. The waterfall set's amazing. The water slide that I always wanted to go on.
Me too.
And obviously the grandiose pirate ship, which was a unbelievable set, Jason. I mean, look at that. It is gorgeous. And you think to yourself, that's a matte painting. No, it's not a matte painting. That's a set.
Richard Donner did not show this set to the children. He wanted to get their genuine reactions when they come around the corner. And so he did. He filmed the kids coming around the corner. When they saw the set, a couple of them said the F word.
I would.
So they couldn't use that shot.
No, yeah.
So yeah, the kids ruined it by using profanity. But it was probably Feldman, and you know what? I think it was probably Data. It was Data. It was Data in mouth doing it.
He's too innocent. He's too nice a kid. No, he would have said it.
That's the one you don't suspect.
He would have spelt it.
Yeah,
he would have spelt it.
We go F-U-C-H. I don't know.
I'm done.
That would have been Martha Plimpton who said it, because she would have been the one you wouldn't have suspected. She's the one who you think. Oh, that's the wrong picture. She's the one who you think, oh, she's too uptight to say that. No, she would have just said, holy, and yeah, she would have let one go right
absolutely.
then.
She had a really wonderful career too. I don't think she does a lot
anymore.
Did. Maybe she does.
I think she's more of a writer nowadays, but yeah, she's done some very impressive things. I think Goonies was like probably her most popular work, but yeah, you will see her.
I'd say that in Parenthood,
movies and television a lot. Oh yeah.
Parenthood, who she was really great in that, playing part of that young couple with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, we said off the top of the show, what more can you say about beautiful art? And I consider this art now because it has aged so well. How do you make a film in 1984 that feels as relevant 40 years later? And it does. Like, for me, it romanticizes a period, and you kind of mentioned it before, of when you would get up in the morning on a Saturday morning, you'd grab your BMX and you'd go meet up your friend's place and you would go off on an adventure.
I thought nothing you said you grabbed your Betamax. I was like, you grabbed a Betamax? What?
BMX.
BMX. Yeah, I know. I thought you said Betamax. That's what threw me.
Hey
guys, I've got my Betamax. He's got a Betamax. Let's beat him up.
Hey, we were a Betamax family for a while. We were. It was rough.
I don't think we ever were Betamax anything.
Yeah, it was rough.
We joined
However,
the VHS bandwagon.
When you recorded from television, you got a better quality picture from Betamax. And that is true.
Oh, I'm sure you
Beta always gave you a better quality, but it wasn't involved in the adult industry. So that's why it didn't survive. Either way, this film also is magic, I think, because it's one of those rare 4-quadrant movies. It's every demographic. Doesn't matter where you are in life. It is highly enjoyable. And it's one of those great films that the humor comes from different places when you watch it at different points in your life. What you found funny in the beginning, you still find funny, but you start picking up on those nuances. Those more adult themed kind of jokes. And again, just delicious,
Whenever I was a kid, there was a part of this movie that made me laugh so hard that my side started hurting. And I kind of went into that natural high where I just, like, the laugh became self-sustaining and I was crying because I was laughing so hard. And now that I watch it, it's like the base, most juvenile humor ever. It's whenever Chunk breaks the statue and the little piece comes off and he's trying to glue the piece back on. I was laughing so hard at that whenever I was a kid. And now I look at it and I'm just like,
oh.
It's like, oh, yeah.
No, there is a little funny line that Josh Brolin says after that, because you put it the wrong way, you'd be peeing in your face.
Yeah, and I'm that is funny.
That's the joke may not get through today, but I'm glad it's done for such an innocent place. You know what I mean?
I think that if the Goonies had not made that joke, I think the Stranger Things kids probably would have made the joke.
Yeah,
they would have. Yeah. They would have gotten away with it.
Yeah, and you can tell when you've mentioned Stranger Things. I mean, like, there's many influences to Stranger Things, but definitely Goonies is a main one when it comes to
I would say that if the Goonies had never been made, Stranger Things probably would not look anything like it does now. I think that it's like the major influence on Stranger Things.
Yeah, I agree. Now, this film, a budget of $19 million, Jace. So it's a very low budget. And you can see it on the screen. You can see $19 million on the screen. And this is $84. Its box office return was $125 million. It had grossed 10 times its budgeted amount. Warner Brothers were doing a happy dance, my friend. And what a year they had.
Deservedly so.
Because they had this and another Amblin Entertainment movie that came out a little bit later in the year called Gremlins.
Oh, I remember Gremlins. Yes.
So this came out in June 1985. Gremlins came out, I believe, in Sorry, June 1985. It was after. I do apologize. Gremlins was Christmas of 84. Because they make a Gremlins joke in this movie. Do you remember when Chunk's ringing the police and he goes, "Is this you again?"
Right.
It's like this is the time when you said there were these creatures that would multiply if I poured water on them. And I just love that little reference.
I remember Gremlins. You remember Gremlins? I remember Stripes. Yeah, I remember you, Maguire.
Hey, and you, if those guys from South Park, they would even have to admit that Cartman, at some level, is based upon Chunk, right? At some level.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even
easily,
if it's just the basic skeleton of the idea, it's excellent. And I just love the fact to know that Chunk was bored, so he'd make up story. He'd ring the cops and make up stories. You know, not like today. You do that, they're at your house 5 minutes later.
Yeah, that was another person that every friend group had, was the liar. The one who always had to make up stories. We had a liar in our group who would always tell us about it. Yeah, you know,
This one time you made up the Michael Jackson came to your house to use the bathroom. Okay, he didn't, but his sister did. I love that lie. Where he admits to the lie and then just puts another lie on top of it, which is just great. It's just wonderful. And very kid-like,
how kids,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Either way, we love this film. So my question is next.
Absolutely.
Have they done the right thing by not actually making the sequel?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I know that they did plan, and maybe are still planning a legacy sequel where the Goonies kids go on an adventure, but don't. Leave it. Don't remake it. Just leave it. Leave it alone. Let us enjoy this one. We don't need a sequel to we don't need Goonies 2. We don't need the Toonies. Let's leave it alone.
Because the story's complete. There is no thread that needs to be pulled on with this. Characters are well defined, the beginning, middle, and end. Yeah.
Yes. I do have a suggestion, though, if they do a sequel, and I want you to hear me out. No kids. It's just Mikey's grown up, Brand's grown up, Chunk is grown up. They're all played by the same actors, if possible. I don't know if Jeff Cohen would be down for playing Chunk again, but make Chunk like this bodybuilder now, like he's all swollen and everything.
Well, just the fact that him and Chunk live together like a bad odd couple.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they're all still living there in Maine, and then one day they get a call. Hey, we're skipping out on work today. We're going to go on an adventure. All right, and it's by their friend Ferris Bueller. Surprise! It's not only a sequel to the Goonies, it's a sequel to Ferris Bueller. So Ferris and the Goonies get together, and they end up on this. It's a day off, but it's like slowly devolves into an adventure where they try to find like the Oak Creek treasure or something like that. And that's just what happens. It's the Goonies' day off.
The only other real twist I would have on that is that, but then I would have them telling their romantic version and then showing the reality of it. So they talk about, oh, yeah, we did this adventure, and they've got a scene in their head played out. But in reality, it plays out very different. They just look like
surprise. It's also The Hangover 4.
Yeah, it's The Hangover 4 as well.
And at the end, you reveal it's all in Cameron's head, and he's in a padded cell, and none of them existed at all.
Just singing "Let My Cameron Go." But look, this is.
Did you take your meds? No, the meds will be installed on Tuesday. Surprise! It's also a Star Trek sequel.
I mean, you're just going
to throw all the IP in there. Movies.
Yeah, look, like I just say, it's American. It's Americana. It's nostalgia. It's beautifully written. It's a romantic movie. It's a heightened reality movie. And out of it, it makes me pine for the fact that it is highly unlikely in the short term that we'll see films like this come to the cinemas. That will have these type of shared experiences at the movies with a PG family movie.
Yeah.
Like how many, I mean, if they're not CGI, how many big family movies do we get if they're not CGI? We don't get hardly any.
No, if
And
we do, they're
especially not
cheap
theatrical
Netflix
releases.
movies.
Yeah,
I saw Netflix did one a couple of years ago about a bunch of kids who were out at camp and like aliens came down, and it was about them trying to go. I can't remember what it was called, and I remember watching it thinking, this is kind of like the Goonies, but not as good. Everything's going to be compared to the Goonies because the Goonies just.
Well, you don't have an executive producer like Spielberg over like pretty well putting his touch on everything. You don't have a writer like what's his name? It's Michael Caslin, isn't it? The writer, Michael
Chris
Kahn,
Columbus, Steven Spielberg.
Sorry, Chris Columbus. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Kid's like 21 when he wrote this.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and you don't have what I consider one of the great opening pieces of music, and so the music's done by a guy called Dave Grusin, and that that real kind of up tempo opening music. Yeah, it gets you in, doesn't it? It gets
yes,
you
it does. Yes,
yes. And so it's not just the actors, it's not just the writing, it's everybody involved was like operating at maximum effort, and it was a delight. And I don't know what more to say about this. You go, if you're you must be one in a billion people who have watched this and not seen the movie. We haven't really spoiled anything too much, really, because the fun is not about the destination in this movie. The fun's the journey. So go watch it. And do you need help? Because if you've been denied the Goonies your whole life, maybe you need some help for sure, some intervention, because this is a movie must watch.
If you have been denied the Goonies, you may be entitled to compensation.
I would suggest so. Well, that's it, Jace.
My last piece of trivia that I want to share is probably the most morbid, but the housekeeper Rosalita.
Yes.
Yeah, she went on to shoot Selena. Yeah, in the Selena movie. You're
kidding me.
She played Yolanda.
She was in a lot of 80s movies too.
She was. She was like she was this great character actress that just melded into every part she was in. And we lost her a couple of years ago. Yeah, Lupe Ontiveros. We lost her back in 2012, but man, she was just so good at everything she did. She was a chameleon.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, she was definitely good in this role. And just Corey Feldman, I love it. Marijuana goes to truck door, cocaine and heroin goes to the next room. We're going to lock you in this closet if you don't do a good job for 2 weeks without food and water. These are just banger lines, you know. And
yes.
And functional funny. Too, pays it off. What's set up as really just a gag in the beginning becomes integral that he knows how to read Spanish because he's got they're relying on him reading Spanish for the map. So again, just
that's efficient storytelling and great pacing.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, Jace, moving forward.
Great movie. Go watch it.
So how do we bounce off of such a wonderfully joyous movie? How do we bounce off of that to the next movie?
I can't wait to see what we got coming up next. Show it to me.
I don't. Well, yes. I mean, next week you may love it. I mean, I think you do love it. And that is Alien. We are back with Ripley.
No.
Yes, it is time to go back to Ripley in the much maligned Alien Resurrection.
Oh yes, Alien Resurrection. That's the point in which the Alien movies went from being mid to really bad.
Mm-hmm. Though,
but I kind of like it a little bit.
There's some great moments in this, and I'm not talking about the basketball scene, all right? But there are some other fantastic moments in that movie, so which would be great. But it's the one after, the week after. We're taking swings here. And this is a film that I've known about for a while and seen snippets on, but never was able to find a copy. Thank you to
Really? Really? You've never seen Alien Resurrection?
No, the movie I'm talking after Alien Resurrection. I'm doing
I was going to say, wow, you've never seen... Okay. Yeah.
I saw Alien Resurrection at the cinema in 1997. I saw that. But the film we're talking the week after is a film I'd known about for a while, but hadn't been able to find a copy of it and to see it. Thank you, Tubi, because they've been delivering this film that we are going to be discussing the next week. And I can't wait to watch it, Jace. And that is Jeffrey Combs, not playing Reanimator. No, Dr. Morbid. That will
just
be
like Doctor Strange, only not.
Only not by name, but essentially he's Doctor Strange by the looks of it. So, amazing, right?
I'm always there to watch any good Jeffrey Combs entertainment because
you know
I like
one
to
thing
think
about
that
Jeffrey Combs,
we are all Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
He throws his level of the effort he puts in his performances really are transformative at times. You know, and he's proved that many times. Even if you're just a Star Trek fan, look how transformative he is and all the characters he plays in that. Yeah.
The Andorian dude, I can't even remember. Shran. Oh, Shran.
Pigskin. Shran's probably my favorite, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I'm a big Wayoon fan. Wayoon was just so passive aggressive.
What version?
All of them. All of them. He would walk in and go, Captain Sisko, it's so good to see you. That uniform totally doesn't make you look like you're gaining weight.
Yeah. He was insidiously evil. Yeah, he was great.
Yes, he was.
But he won't be in Dr. Morbid, mate. I get the feeling he's the hero. I can't wait to watch that one. That is going to be
He plays the hero, he plays the villain, and he plays the love interest. We are all Jeffrey Combs.
He's even playing the background actors in the same scene.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
My cat is looking at me on the bed right now, and she just took her mask off, and it's Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs. There you go.
I'm a big fan. You know,
I'm
actually,
a big fan. Can we get a selfie?
I stood next to Jeffrey Combs one time, and this is true. I stood next to Jeffrey Combs one time for like 10 minutes, didn't even realize it.
Because you didn't look down, right?
Well, he was sitting at a table.
He's a short guy.
And so no, here's the thing. Jeffrey Combs was right here, and I was just standing there. Nobody was at his table because in front of me was Elvira.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, I love you, but it was Elvira. Elvira's a goddess, and she's every bit as nice as you think she is.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've seen her in interviews, and she's.
But he totally understood because at one point when I turned around, I was like, "Oh my God, that's Jeffrey Combs," and he kind of goes, "Yeah, that's Elvira. I get it. It's all good. They should not have put my table here."
Well, I get the feeling that we're going to be in for a treat when that comes up. So that's what we're looking for in the next couple of weeks of the VHS Vault, where we're hoping our internet stream stays stable for the entire show. Please leave your comments and let us know what you thought of this movie. And I dare you to say you hate it and bring valid points to it. I dare you to do it. I want you to do it. So in the meantime, though, you guys need to
shun the non-believer. Shun. Please do.
You guys need to support us by doing what, Jason?
Visiting our.
Sorry,
you can visit us. You can visit our Patreon. No, there's like a delay. I'm like talking and you keep talking over me. Will you shut up for 5 minutes? Just shut up. You can visit our Patreon by clicking on the link in the video description below. You can also become a channel member here and get our content early if you feel like getting garbage shot straight at your face early than everybody else does. But yes, please think about becoming a member. Think about becoming a Patreon because trust us, you will always be the biggest member to us. No, wait.
That kind of sounded inappropriate.
I can't help the way that you interpret things. That's a you problem.
Oh, well. Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Oi.